Hi guys, it's Jordan from P&P Campers. I'm just going to be doing a handover video on this Fiat Talento. So it's 2021 and it's a creative camper vans conversion. So layout in here is just your standard kind of industry standard, if you like, rock and roll bed, pop top roof here as well, so you've got loads of space in there when the roof is lifted up, loads of headroom. And you do actually also have the option here of the additional bed at the top, so when you got the roof all the way up, you can actually make another bed up here as well. So it's technically a 4-berth with a single double bed just here that pulls towards you, obviously, with a locking part just here as well, so you can really lock it in place nice and strong. The upholstery in here has all got creative camper vans written on it as well, which I think is quite a nice little feature. But yeah, so what I'll do is I'll show you around the outside of the van first. I'll show you under the bonnet, and then we will carry on around to the outside. So if I just find the bonnet release, there we go. So up on the electric struts there, or not electric, sorry, the gas struts just there. So over on the left hand side, we have got your air filter sits inside this box over here. Now, obviously, you know, we're going to do a service on it anyway, but if you ever needed to replace that, that's where it is. Your washer fluid is in this little reservoir here on the left. You have got air conditioning in here, so you've got a couple of air conditioning pipes, one here and one just here. They're both your air conditioning pipes. Your engine oil dipstick is the little yellow one just down here. All right, so if you wanted to check your engine oil, that is where you would do it from there. Engine coolant is this reservoir here at the very front, and you should always check this when the engine's cold. To the right of that, we've got your engine oil filling point. So you can just about see down there. That is actually, you won't be able to see the top of the engine down there because it goes through this little filler hose here, so it doesn't actually show you the top of the engine through the cap, just in case you wondered. The brake fluid is this little reservoir just here. That goes across to there and attaches to the servo over on that side. You've got a load of fuses and relays under here, and your engine battery sits under there as well. Okay, so just in case you wondered where the engine battery was, it is down there. I think that's about it really for under the bonnet. There's not a huge amount more to show you. As I say, it's on the gas struts when you go to lift up the bonnet. The bonnet release is just inside the passenger door down here. All right, not really much else to show you on the passenger side, to be honest. I will show you around the cab, but that's when we get around to the driver's side. You have got the full-size wind-out Fiat F45 awning up there. So that has got a winder on this side just here towards the back. You just literally wind it out, and then you've got a couple of legs inside that will fold down. Obviously that's been fitted in the black to match the wheels and the other little bits and pieces on the body, and it does look really nice actually. It's been fitted nicely as well. So further towards the back, we've got the twin rear doors, tow bar on here as well. You can open the doors a little bit wider if you need to by pulling on this little part just here that you've seen me do. So that'll basically just release it from here. All right, so when you go to close the door again, you need to make sure that that goes over there, and then that's locked back in. So now that won't go any further until you pull on this a little bit, just in case you wondered what they were for. So at the back of the van, you've got a couple of important things. So you've got this brown folder here, which has got a load of paperwork in, all to do with the vehicle. You've got some silver screens here that have been left by a previous owner, so that's going to be for the cab, and they're not cheap actually to buy those, so that's a nice thing to have. You've got a bit of storage in this locker up the top just here. Your awning winder is this one just here, so that's the one that you need to use to wind out your awning on the side of the van there. And then below that, in this lift up locker, this is a slightly more important one, or it's quite a lot more important. You've got a few things in here that I need to explain. So in the little box just there at the back is your leisure battery. So if you ever needed to get to the leisure battery, you can just open up that yellow box, and that'll just give you access to taking it out or checking it over. The green unit here on the left is an inverter. Now, we don't tend to recommend inverters too much because they do tend to draw quite a lot of power from your leisure battery. But if you did want to use that inverter, it is there for you to use. We don't tend to sort of test these and check them because they are always aftermarket fittings. They don't fit them from standard. So it's not something that's covered under the warranty, but you can have a go with it and see how it goes. I've got no reason to think that it doesn't work, but yeah, there you go. So that is your inverter. There is actually a switch for that in the van, which I'll point out to you when we get inside. The water pump is this one just down here, the one that says Pentair on it. So that's your water pump. And then up here to the right hand side is your power supply unit, or your PSU. So this is a Sargent power supply unit, and basically it just takes every single little bit of power and diverts it around the vehicle to wherever it needs to go to. So on the left hand flap that you can see, you've got a load of 12-volt fuses. On the right hand side, you've got your mains trip switches. So, you know, if anything electronic goes wrong with the vehicle, basically, it's likely to be related to this silver box here. And then towards the back a little bit further, the sort of box that says Sterling Power on it, that is your split relay. So when the engine is started, that is the unit there that will basically take some of the engine's power and start charging up your leisure battery as well as the vehicle battery. So that's what that little unit there is at the back. It's a split relay or a split charger, some people call them. So on the off side of the van, we've got your electric hookup. So if you do have access to a hookup cable, it's really handy to have those plugged in, because it means that you don't have to worry about your leisure battery voltage because it'll be at full power. And it also means that you'll be able to use any of your 3-pin sockets inside the van. Also on the offside, just down here, we've got your wastewater drain off point. So you can see I've drawn a little bit of water through here earlier on. So if you wanted to do it properly, you need to get yourself a little rollaway tank to plug into the side there. It's literally just plugs in. It's nothing technical at all, but that is where you would put on your wastewater drain off point. That's how the majority of caravans work. It's just that that's a bit of an easier way of fitting the waste tanks, or the waste drain, sorry, without having underslung tanks. But it's something that you have a little look at in the future. So in the actual cab itself, unbelievably low mileage, 10,000 miles. For a small camper van, that is, you know, seriously low. These normally, being on a smaller vehicle like this, you'll normally find that they'll have a bit more mileage on them because they're used as like daily vehicles. So having 10,000 miles on it is fantastic. So in the actual cab itself, on the actual dashboard up here, not loads to show you, to be honest. It's literally just, you know, your rev meter there, fuel gauge on the right, and it will tell you your speed and stuff on the middle there. It tells you when your handbrake's on and when you've got doors open, obviously. If there was a problem with the engine at some point, you'll get a little light come up just inside there with a little spanner on it. But other than that, that's about it really for the actual dashboard itself. On the left-hand stalk, we've got your lights. You have got an automatic option there as well, so you can just select auto if you want to. You've got your indicators and your fog lights there as well. Okay. On the right-hand side, you've just got your washers and wipers. That's just standard stuff, really. And on the actual dash itself over here on the right, we've got a couple of things. So you've got parking sensors just there. That's a parking sensors on and off button. You've got this little switch just here. Now, if I'm honest with you, I've not seen this before, but I'm going to assume, because it's got like a rocky terrain sort of image on it, I'm going to assume that's to do with the ESP, or like the stability control. So if you're going to go off-road, or, you know, somewhere a little bit more bumpy, you can turn that on, and it'll more than likely bring you up a little symbol on the dash telling you that the ESP has now been switched on. To the right, we've got your headlight adjustments. So if you're towing something and the front of your van is up high, you can adjust the headlight just there. And the button on the right just here, or the little bit just here on the right, is going to be the brightness of your actual cluster here. So if you wanted to change the brightness at night, you can do that by sort of just moving this up and down. On the door, we've got your electric windows from these two buttons just here, and your electric adjusting mirrors from this one. So you just select which mirror you want to move, and then move it around like a little joystick to get it to where you want it to be. Right, on the steering wheel itself, you have got, this is cruise control, I believe. So if you wanted to select your cruise control there, you can do that from the left-hand side of the steering wheel. You've got voice recognition just here, because you've got, obviously, it's 2021 plate, so you've got some nice, standard bits and pieces on here. R and O, I'm not 100% on, if I'm completely honest. I will double check that. I would only imagine it's going to be to do with the center screen just here anyway. But yeah, anyway. So you've got the eco button just down here. So that's just going to allow your engine to run a little bit more economically. 6-speed manual gearbox. Reverse is lift up on the little bottom bit here, over and up to the top left hand side. That'll get you into reverse. You've also got the speed limiter switch just here, and a start stop option here as well. So on the actual center part of the dash just here, you can turn it on and off the center screen just like that. So if you are driving along and you want the entire thing to be switched off, you can do it from there. You've got your air conditioning switch from this one, and obviously all of your normal heater controls from the middle. I don't really tend to explain that because it's just like any other car, it's just the same. You've got a reversing camera, which is that little screen just there in the middle, just in case you wondered what that was without seeing it on. You can lock and unlock the cab from this little button just down here, and you've got your hazard lights just there as well. Small cup holder comes down from the middle just there, and you've got another one at the top just there as well. Right, so I think that's about it really for the outside and the cab. So if I just go round and jump inside the van, I'll show you a few more interesting bits inside. So as I said, we've got your standard sort of rock and roll layout here. The whole layout, to be honest, is fairly standard. It's the sort of industry standard layout of these sort of smaller camper vans and things. But the reason that they are industry standards because they work really well and they allow you to have a bit of storage in here and blah blah blah. So as I say, load of storage in this one here. You have actually got a solar panel up on the roof as well, and that little unit that you can see in there is your solar controller. Now you don't have to do anything with that, you just leave that alone and it will just be charging up as you speak, and it will just carry on doing its thing. It's just, you haven't got to do anything with it, it will just do its thing, and when it gets to a certain sort of voltage, it should turn itself off as well. It will turn itself off. Oh, I need two hands to pull that back down. Right, so in the actual sort of on this sort of control panel area, you've got your Sargent EC50 control panel. So this is sort of directly linked up to the power supply unit down in the back cupboard. So these are very, very simple. You've literally got a power button on the top left hand side, two battery voltage checkers. Okay, so if we want to select the leisure battery to be used, which is the one that we want to use, we would press the L and have a little light next to it like it is now. So when we're using the lights and we're using the fridge and stuff like that, we want to have the L battery selected, as you can see there. If you wanted to select the vehicle battery for any reason, you can press that one just there and it will show you the voltage there for that as well. And for the most part, you're going to want to leave it on leisure, because if you start using up the vehicle battery voltage for, powering the lights and things in the back of the van, you're pretty quickly not going to be able to start the van up because the engine battery will be flat. So you need to make sure that you're using L. Okay. You've then got water pump and lights, and that is it. So water pump, when you turn that on, you will then just have access to using the tap straight away. That will just come to life. And the lights, when you turn that little switch on just there, you'll then be able to go ahead and turn on all of the lights around the vehicle. You've got a couple of LED strips around the van. That's another thing that's been fitted aftermarket. That won't have been from new, I can't imagine. But you've got a couple of remotes for those just down here. There will be sort of various switches for the rest of the lights dotted around. I didn't do the hab check on this particular van, so I'm not sure exactly where the switches are for them, but they'll be pretty self-explanatory, pretty easy to find, I would imagine. So that's the control panel. Pretty straightforward on that, to be honest. Below that, we've got a couple of USB sockets just here and a mains power socket just there. I will also just mention, if I just double check, so I believe, now it should be written on the habitation sheet, but I believe this socket down here should be linked up to that inverter. So if you wanted to use the power from the inverter, you turn this little switch on just here and it will come to life and tell you that the inverter is on, and then you use this little socket down here. So basically the idea behind an inverter, in case you didn't know, is that, well, what it does is it converts 12 volt power, which is what your engine battery, your leisure battery is, sorry, and converts it into mains power, so 240 volts. And the idea behind doing that is so that you can use these 3-pin sockets, like your household sockets, without having the electric hookup plugged in. So, and that's obviously great, and that's, you know, if you are in desperate need of mains power, then you can use that wherever you are. But the trouble is, because you're converting 12 volt to 240 volts, it pretty quickly ends up drawing the batteries down to nothing, and before you know it, your leisure battery's flat, and you can't use anything. So that's the sort of the reason that we don't tend to recommend them so much, is because some people don't think about how much power they're drawing, and then wonder why their leisure battery's gone flat within 10-15 minutes. It's because the inverter, well, what is it, 20 times its own, it turns 12 into 240, so 20 times what the battery's made for. So it's there, and if you want to use it and want to try it out, then obviously you can do. But yeah, just sort of point that out to you. Just bear in mind that it will draw a lot of 12 volt power when you are using it. Sorry. So above the control panel, we have got this little unit here. Now this is your diesel heater. So if you wanted to use the heating, you've literally got a button at the top just here, which brings you up a little red light, and that is basically just the heating on. Okay, so that's your heating on just there with the red light at the top. Press it again, switches the heating off completely. The one at the bottom will give you a little green light, and basically what that is literally just pumping cool air around the van. It will just literally pump cool air, no heating at all. So if you've got a green light at the bottom, that's cool air only, and if you've got a red light at the top, that is your heating. And that is it. That's honestly all you need to do. So that's probably the sort of control panel area covered. It's all pretty straightforward stuff, to be honest. So the sink is, it is what it is. It's literally just a cold tap and then a drain out the bottom of it. So there's nothing that I need to explain to you about that. To the left of that, we've got your 2 gas burners. So to light these up, you've got a piezo ignition, which is a little bit noisy, but you'll find that if you go to a campsite, that's what you'll hear every morning. People using their piezo igniters, it's quite normal. And to light these up, you literally just twist the valve around, push down, and press on the piezo igniter. And that's it. So super, super easy, nothing to it. But that's how you would light up either of these 2 gas burners. I will also mention that you need to make sure that you allow these to cool down before you pull the glass lid down. If you pull the glass lid down either on the flame or just after turning it off, these glass lids are prone to shattering. So it's really important that you allow this to cool down before putting the lid down. If you've just turned it on for a few seconds like that, you don't need to worry about it. You can just put the lid down. But I'm saying if you've used it for sort of 10-15 minutes or so to actually heat something up, then you need to make sure you allow it to cool down. In these 2 cupboards below, we have got basically, there's a few bits and pieces, a gas pipe over there, a couple of water pipes there, but really the important part down here is the gas locker. So the gas locker itself has got a little door on it, which I've taken off before the video. So that just sort of put that to one side when you're not using it. The gas bottle itself is a butane bottle, and this is a camping gas 907. Okay, so that's the biggest of these sort of little blue bottles. On the actual top of the bottle itself, you've got the regulator. So the regulator, you literally just turn it on by turning this little dial here. Now you go anti-clockwise around to the left to turn the bottle on, and clockwise around to the right to turn the bottle off. So you need to make sure that you turn the bottle off before you start driving. But basically, clockwise all the way around to the right until it stops. And that's the gas switched off. When you want to use it again, anti-clockwise around to the left, and that's your gas on. It really doesn't get much easier than that. But as I say, it's really important to make sure that you turn the gas off before you start driving, mainly because, you know, if you're in a crash or something bad happens, obviously we hope that doesn't happen, but if you are, the very last thing that you want, or the fire brigade want, is 30 millibar of butane pumping out into the van somewhere. So as you can imagine, that's a recipe for disaster, really. So the reason they come in these proper fixed metal boxes with dropout holes is so that, you know, it can't escape into the vehicle. But if you are in a crash or something, then, you know, God knows what might happen to all of the pipes and things. So just make sure that you turn the bottle off before you start driving, and then that saves you worrying about any of that. And if you were in a crash, you know that this is isolated and that's not anything to worry about. So that's your gas locker just in there. I will put the cover back on in a minute. And then the last thing is going to be the fridge. So this is a proper Dometic fridge, by the way, so it's a nice brand. You can buy some really cheap, nasty versions of these, but this is actually a really nice quality, top of the range one. So with the Dometic fridge, you'll be sort of amazed how easy it is. You've literally got an on and off button just here, which, as you can see, if I turn it off, all the lights go out, and if you are here in person, you can actually hear the compressor in the back turning off when you do that as well. But basically, press and hold, turns on your lights, and straight away, I don't know if you can hear it on the video, but the compressor starts up straight away. And then on the right, you've got a temperature selector. So if you literally just go like that, you can select your temperature. And if you want it on absolutely full blast, press and hold for a few seconds, and it then goes to the very, very top one. And that is basically just to the, you know, the full blast. It's probably always going to be too cold, but you can change that again if you want to. Press and hold on it, and then scroll through. But basically just allow that to cool down for an hour or so before you go somewhere. That will stay on as well. When you start the engine and start driving, that will continue to work. But yeah, so that genuinely is all there is to it. There's nothing more to it than that. Press and hold on the button here to turn it off, and that's it. So I'll leave that open so I don't forget to put the cover back on. I might be able to do it with one hand, just so I can show you what it looks like. Oh, they're a little bit tricky to put on with one hand. Just line it up a bit better. There you go. Oh, the bottom's not quite on. There you go. So that's how the gas locker will look. Yeah, but there you go. So I think I've covered everything. I don't think there's anything else that I've missed out or anything else I need to go over. If there is, or if there's anything you want us to go over or anything else you want me to explain, then just give us a shout. But otherwise, I look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks very much.